Cool.
Well, comic book, yeah, more like adaptation stuff. Black Adam, and they talked about the new animated X-Men, which makes my head hurt and stuff like that. So yeah,
Have you seen Black Adam, Pops, or are you going to?
I did just see Black Adam. It was
Oh,
it's fine. I can recommend it as fun.
yeah, that's
It's a
what I've
little
heard.
it's a little overblown with how people talk about how good it is or how great it is or whatever. Like we're getting really carried away with our expectation of that. Um, it's sort of in that like Marvel Phase 2 category of good. Like it's good, but let's not get carried away. Like it's not like the best of the best or anything like that. Um, and I will say that the ending, that the big twist credit scene that's leaked out everywhere, that Henry returns, is by far like this. Here's the thing, great. They play a little bit of the music. They give us just a little John Williams, that dun,
Mm.
dun, 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 dun. They just give you just a little taste. It almost gives you goosebumps. It gets you just because
Oh,
you're like, that's my Superman. You're just like, oh yeah. And I will admit, the biggest problem with it is they didn't let The Rock kind of animate much, like kept him very stoic. Anyway, yeah, it was fine. I had a good time, but it's not like people. Some people are like, it's a 9. I'm like, okay, you're a crazy person because it's not a 9.
it seemed to be getting a lot of criticism from the, shall we say, official critics. That's what I heard. And
Yeah.
also, parts before I meant to say, Japan doesn't get it until December 2nd. Isn't that weird?
Oh my gosh, that's after China.
It's a big, yeah. I think we're often last for some reason. We come after
Huh.
North Korea,
Oh my
which don't
gosh.
even get movies.
They just smuggle them in on the boat. They've got it already. Wow, that is really late. No, I'm sorry to
Yeah,
hear that, my friend.
strange.
It is. I try to touch on it a little bit in my review on why I think critics don't like Black Adam, because it is very, very disconjointed. It has a lot of start-stop elements to the story that it's telling, and it's just, and there's not a lot of complexity to it. It's a very simplistic thing. So, Bifer says that Black Adam was better than Doctor Strange 2, Doctor Strange
Oh,
Mom, and yes, well, that was, yeah, nope, there's no doubt
Thor:
about
Love
that.
and Thunder. I haven't even watched it. I just don't
It's
want to.
unbearable. It's
I don't want
unbearable.
to.
You know what's going to bother you the most is, for me, great, because you and I are alike in this too. If we're going to have this kind of tone, just have that tone.
Yeah,
But they'll make a moment, and then they crack a joke, and then you're going along, and they kind of, okay, we're going along, crack a joke. It's like, okay, crack a joke. It's just like, oh my gosh, can someone please stop doing this? Like it got to be so irritating for me, where it's like we would have these moments where you're supposed to have a character development or a serious moment, and it would just be some cheesy, cheeky, stupid joke or gag, and that was one of the worst things for me. I hated it. So, Chris Burgess going back to the Utah data center and says those servers overheated. I suppose none of the close to 3,000 people working at YouTube were able to get on top of that problem. Well, this was the Utah data center. That's different than YouTube, so I don't know. But the fact that we have just these multitude of people in all this stuff capturing all of our data, it's crazy. So, Bifer's talking about RR making it to Japan. Yeah, I
it
saw
finally
that.
came out the theaters. Yeah, last Friday. I really want to go and see it. I say we had to wait till October, man. Crazy.
I'm so happy for you that you can see it in the theater. I wish I had known about it when it was in the theater here in the States. I missed the theater experience. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times on my phone, shared to the screen on the screen of the house, but not like in the theater. So I don't know. Could people rate it 8 or 8 doing that because WB has been handing out so many clunkers, starving for anything half decent, hence being overgenerous? Yes. The overgenerous thing is epidemic. This thing is, it's everyone wants to go, it's dog crap, and it's classic. It's like, it's like a 2 or a 3, or it's like a 9 or a 10. It's like, okay.
Yeah, crazy.
8 is probably a little, again, I'm trapped with the critic brain. Like when I had to do 5-star, a scale of 5, most things are around a 2 to a 3. And every now and again, you'll get a 4. And once every few, maybe once a year you get a 5. Usually once every few years you get a real 5, because a real 5 needs to be like rewatchable, right? It doesn't hold. It doesn't. A real 5 holds up. Well, then it becomes too complicated, and we all wanted half stars to become like 2.5s and 3.5s, and then you end up with IMDb that does the 10-point scale. So now if I give something a 3, it's actually a 6, and I start to look a little bit like a jackwagon. Well, of course, now we do Rotten Tomatoes, and everything is on a 100-point scale, and I give that a 60. now I really look like a jackwagon. But the scale's pretty much the same. And I'm like, that's why so many things end up in like the 80s and the 90s, because people feel like it's not good enough. They're comparing it to their mental, subjective, psychological state of how we were graded in schools. Like the only way to be an A or a B is to get like an 80 or a 90 on a test. And I'm like, well, that's not the same as grading. We don't grade movies the same way. There are no 10s. You guys stop giving so many things 10s. Yes, I should do a whole video on just the Rotten Tomato 10s, because it makes my head hurt that there's so many things that do not deserve to be there. I don't think it's an 8. To me, it's like a very strong 6, 7 kind of thing. Black Adam. I'd have to rewatch it. Yeah. I need to rewatch it because I need to see how much it shows up in a. I understand what you mean, Chris. Like people calling it a 9. It's absurd.
I'm most looking forward to seeing Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, Pops. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, he was very, very good. Very well cast. And Dr. Fate was fine. And I said this, and people, I don't know, somebody said something to me. I said, okay, I get it. I understand the lore. I know he came before Doctor Strange. However, they're late to the game, so it's not my fault that when Dr. Fate does things, it seems like Doctor Strange. So they should have tried to make some of his effects and his magic feel and look different than Doctor Strange's did in his movies. That was probably the biggest negative of Dr. Fate. And of course the ending is, well, I don't know. I don't like how they ended with Dr. Fate. We need to have more Dr. Fate. Like it didn't give me the way Dr. Fate's fate. It didn't give me the kind of through line that I kind of want.
How was Hawkman, by the way, and how was
Hawkman was fantastic.
Him? Okay, cool.
It was fantastic, and that take on Hawkman was fine. I mean, people want to be upset about the race swap. I don't care about that. First off,
I don't care about that.
Hawkman can regenerate, and actually, that was one of the plot points, is because Hawkman can regenerate. So there's all this wasted screen time about him dying, and I'm like, dude can regenerate, like, and they call him Carter. I wish they had picked one of the other versions of Hawkman to have him as his name or something like that. And I wish that he was part of the reason they ended up in this Black Adam conflict, because of his ties to Egypt as well.
Okay.
But that wasn't what they went with. But it was fantastic. So yeah, I don't know. My review's up. It's okay. I don't really give scores exactly, but if I did, it'd probably be more like a strong 6 to a 7. Ryan says a 6 in 2000 is far better than a 6 in 2022. Most films were better in 2000. But this is a solid film. I'm not going to say it's not. And I'm a super hard critic. I have to be honest. I'm a terrible, you hear all these people and you hear all these different things about whatever. They're terrible at their jobs because they just have this narcissistic way of looking at things, and they will contradict their own stuff. I always try to put it in this imaginary scale that's in my brain about how it would wrap up, and that's why I can't handle things being a 10. There's so few things that are 10s. 10s are such.
I know, right?
Like I just.
Pops, It gets me with them. I don't know if you ever check it out. Do you know Comic Book Roundup? I'm sick of the official critics on that. It's like every week or every month, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9, 10, 10. I always go for the user reviews and just check those out. And even those, you can get like some 10s or some 0s, but you get a better idea. I just it's so obvious they're just shilling for free issues, aren't they, basically? A lot of these critics.
And it makes no sense. There just shouldn't be 10s. Like there's so few.
How can you have
10s?
10 every time? Yeah, it doesn't.
It
reduces the value of 10.
Yeah, it's just there's no 10. It's just a joke.
There's no value then. Yeah.
So it's just like so basically now when the great one actually comes along, you guys are going to what? It should be an 11. You just start making crap up because you have saturated your own scale, right? And I have said there are great movies that just keep going down because they don't have rewatchability. Like that's one of my biggest factors. If I don't want to rewatch this thing, how great really was it? And part of it is, a film can be damaged just by its, like Philadelphia, right? The famous Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington AIDS film from the 90s, Oscar-winning film that I will never sit through again.
No.
It's just, I'm good. Been there, done that. That was awful. Thank you for that experience. It was awful. It was a wonderful film, great performances, and I would never sit through it again, right? That's okay. But it will never be a 10. You don't want to sit through. If people don't want to watch them again, they don't get to be talked about in that type of category, right? I think there's anything wrong with making 6s and 7s. It's fine. That's the sweet spot. Every now and again, you'll hit an 8. And every now and again, once or twice a year, you might get a 9.
Yeah.
I don't know what RRR is going to feel like 5 years from now. I'm enjoying it so far on my rewatchability. I think all the structures are there for it to be like a classic and something I would enjoy. And special effects keep it from being a 10, but that's not their fault. I mean, they can only do what they can do. But I really like that. I really enjoyed it. It's a great film. So, yeah, no, look, we all have those that you can rewatch. I get it.
Yeah.
Clockwork Orange is a classic, and it is rough. And I'm not saying rough movies can't be 10 or can't be rewatchable. I'm just saying there are some that are like that for me personally, and everyone kind of has those things. And I think as an audience, that should be factored in. Like, I think if Philadelphia got re-released in theaters, it's not like people are going to flood the theaters to go sit through that film again. Like, it doesn't. That's what I mean. But if you re-release Saving Private Ryan again, tons of people are going to want to go see that in the theater again, because even though it's a difficult film to sit through, because it is very, graphic, it holds up so well. So.
It's a great theatrical experience. Yeah, it's Absolutely. A very, cinematic movie, isn't it, as you say? How about something more recent, parts? Would you go and rewatch Joker? The recent Todd Phillips one.
That's a really good example too, because there's been many times that I have gone to rewatch Joker and still haven't, and it's because you have to be in the right kind of mood to even give it a fair chance.
Yeah, right? You do.
Went to the theater, saw it, really impressed, and really enjoyed it. Performance, obviously.
Me too.
But
once.
But many times I've been on HBO Max to turn something on, and I'm not in the mood.
No, yeah, me too.
I'm gonna what? No, I'm not in the mood. I actually, one of the worst things about my brain is that's how. First, before I get too far, hey, it's up to God.
Hey,
keep those. You gotta get some videos for me, bro. I gotta get caught up on these videos. Everybody's making videos. So yeah, that's definitely one. That's a great example of a more modern one that has the same kind of problem where it's a great film, but I don't know how much I want to endure it again. Like it's just, and I'm not saying I don't like dramas. Like I just rewatch because the HBO Max came out with a series called The Offer, which dealt with the making of The Godfather, and that got me to rewatch the 2 Godfather films.
Is it really good, by the way, Pops? Is the series good? The Offer?
It's fantastic.
Okay, I want to watch that. Yeah, I'd heard about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's fantastic because people talk about like how great House of Dragons is, and I haven't had a chance to do a video with my list of complaints and grievances.
Really?
We've gotten a little carried away because we're
I quite enjoyed that.
To Ring of Power. No, it's fine. I'm enjoying it too. I watched the whole thing, enjoyed it. But
Rings of Power is a train wreck. It's awful.
I'm not even giving it a minute.
I stopped. I haven't even watched the finale. I refuse. I can't get 5 minutes through one episode. Oh God.
I let Magitech Max try to sell me. Let's tell me a reason why I should even give it a minute of my time. She's like, no, and everyone's covering it, so I have nothing to offer.
Yeah,
I'm a total noob when it comes to Tolkien and all that. So, and for House of Dragon, it was more like guilty pleasure because I had been. Yeah. I never watched Game of Thrones and never experienced any of it in real time.
Oh, okay.
And then I binged it during the pandemic. So my perspective on Game of Thrones is usually different than everyone else's because I didn't have a gap. You know what I mean? I went from Red Wedding right into season 4. There was no, it was the next video. I didn't have this long year to dwell on the trauma that everybody had to go through, right? So, Ryan's got to take off, do some shopping. Hey, man.
Hey, Ryan, have a good day.
And stop Ring of Power episode 4. Hey, you got 4 episodes more than me, bro. So, but no, I'm not trying to diss on House of Dragon. It would be like, again, there's not a lot of great content out there. It's like a top 10 list. Sure, it's going to make my top 10 list, but I think the Offer is a far superior, engaging, engulfing experience, especially if you enjoy like that Hollywood drama of how they make movies and you understand the politicking. If you're into that kind of film nerd type stuff, this show is going to knock your socks off. I mean, you are just going to be like, I can't wait for the next video. And I'll warn you, Gray, there are people that have completely missed the mark. They're the main character, and she's his secretary. And it's played that she does all these different things. And I have heard people completely lie about how woke this series is, and they've gone woke. And this woman really existed. And after The Godfather, he helped her start a talent agency. That's how freaking good she was. She just passed away long ago. Now, is it been exaggerated for the show? Maybe. Most likely. but we can't get carried away by just trying to throw the woke label on everything and demean everything whenever there
that has
is
become a
some.
big problem, hasn't it? Yeah, you're right. So people who are generally like, as you say, a really strong female character,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, they just did that because of current climate. It's like, no, these people actually existed.
Right, and maybe in some elements they did. Like, Francis Ford Coppola's wife, I think, has a scene that's to me, very exaggerated, but it also
Okay.
feels like something that could have happened behind the scenes, like maybe not other people in the room, kind of thing. Like there's certain moments that you feel like, okay, are they trying to elevate some of the female presence and the character? Sure, maybe they are, but to me, the essence of it and so much of it is rooted in even the stuff that's exaggerated. There's other stuff that's this scene in this restaurant's exaggerated. It didn't really happen. It's like, okay, well, it kind of happened. This is what happened, but So I know. I thought the show was fantastic. I love your take on it when you watch it. I think you're gonna have a hard time putting it down, kind of thing. It's gonna be so engaging. It doesn't waste time. Cliffhanger after cliffhanger because the production is a freaking miracle.
Oh,
It'll
really?
make you
Okay.
it'll
I'm
make
really
you
looking forward to it now.
It'll
Really.
make you appreciate The Godfather on the next level. You'll be
Even
like,
more. Yeah.
oh,
Wow.
Yeah. No, I can't even tell you. I rewatched it again, and there's these little moments they reenact and things like that, and you're just like, oh man, I love this movie so much more now because it was already a 10 for me. Like The Godfather 1 and 2, and I put them together. I know people tick you off and they want you to pick one. I said I refuse. It's one big story. I'm sorry.
1 and 2.
There's just one story. It's really
Not
one
3.
big giant.
Not
What
3
is this?
pops.
What is this 3 you're talking about? What are you talking about?
It's a rumor. It's a myth.
There's only 2 Godfather movies, but I don't know what this list. It's like this Matrix stuff. People keep talking about all these other Matrix films or something. I'm like, I don't. There's only one Matrix film. I don't know. So.
Indiana Jones, only 3.
Highlander, there can only be one. There can only be one. So no, I would recommend The Offer. I think it's really great. But I thought Stranger Things season 4 was superior to House of Dragon. And other people were like, "Oh no, how can you say that?" I'm like, because you're a crazy person. Can you not understand how great the writing and the payoffs were in Stranger Things compared to the lack of payoffs in House of Dragon? Like House of Dragon has just strung us along, and not just one little piece, like a whole bunch of storylines for episodes after episodes.
You're not wrong, Pops. You're not wrong. I just got pulled in by some of the performances I thought were really good, and I like the whole core intrigue kind of storyline. I like those anyway. So.
Well, I love the political drama stuff, right?
Yeah,
this is what and this is what, because I mean, let's be honest, right? Game of Thrones was not for me, right? So I am literally fast forwarding through sequences. I don't need to watch that. Oh God, Lord help me! I got to scrub this out of my. I just no. But when it comes to like the political drama and the intrigue and the backstabbing and the conspiring,
that's good.
And the first 3 seasons were just gold. We're just gold. And then season 4, once they changed Tyrion, right? It's a completely different character, like on a dime. And we lost because he was like us walking around in this universe. Like he was kind of our, messed up character, that he was our avatar, like the messed up avatar that we could kind of be in this universe and cheer for. And, and then it just got all distorted starting in season 4 and just kind of kept deteriorating. But there were some great battle sequences, and there were still some crazy things that they didn't mind doing. I got to be honest, House of Dragon was very subdued. It was very a Game of Thrones light, like that whole Me Too era. Like it's okay to have bloody childbirth, where we do all sorts of crazy stuff, but we don't want to show TNA anymore. I just find that very just almost laughable. I'm like, yeah, we can kind of see what you're doing there. You really, you're not really, shocking or surprising us. So. But